So this is the finished washable sewn fabric brooch using Zazzle fabric using a swatch. Hi, this is Kristie Hubler with fabricatedframesCom, and in this tutorial you will see how to take a swatch, a $5 swatch of the new fabric at Zazzle.com. Zazzle.com, yes. Fabric at Zazzle.com. Take the swatch and turn it into a sewing project, a sewing craft. In this case, we are making a brooch, a washable, sewn, or no-sew fabric brooch pin, fashion brooch pin. This uses my, I have printed on the swatch, my Queen of Hearts gold crown tiara that I had designed for a customer for their dog Queenie's fabric photo frame. Yes, back in 2001. And I've uploaded the art of several different things. It's sold on shower curtains and fabric, and so, yeah, it's sold on fabric. So, it's this particular thing I designed and created a pattern layout with all the parts and all the instructions and all the extra supplies and tools to fit on a 9" by 9" swatch of fabric. In this case, we are using polyester poplin. Now this crown has a gold box outline, and this crown is a golden, like a yellowy golden color with diamond shaped hearts and pearls, and it's small at this size because it's 2 inches wide by 1.5 inches finished. How it is washable is because when you turn it over, the finished back panel has 2 holes that you either cut out or you could use a quality craft hole puncher. And you put the little latch, put the little latch here, pop out, and make it do that. You do this. You pop it through one end, you make sure this stays up, you pop it like this, and I am doing this one-handed, and see how that goes, and then you just push on that, push this thing out in case it gives you a little agita, and you just would remove it that way. Oh, come on now, I know you can do it. I'm doing this one-handed, it's a little tricky, but I've done it before. Okay, come on now. Okay, why are you going to give me trouble? One time. Or that. Do that. And it comes out. Normally it comes out the other way. So, but this is the bar style pin back that is removable. It is 1 1.5, 1 3/4. I measured it so that it sticks out these 2 holes. The mechanisms either end will situate and poke out through these holes. This is a pocket. You have 2 panels that make the back with the holes punched out or cut out, and you have the 2 panels that make the front with the design on the front. It makes a pocket when you sew the 3 sides together. You sew just the top edge of these 2 panels together and the top edge of these 2 panels together, and I will show you a complete video tutorial on how to create these using the Zazzle fabric. And that is this particular swatch you could buy at Zazzle.com/fabricatedframes/fabric. That's FABRICATEDFRAMES. Fabricated means created or invented, and frames means structure, and it's always made out of fabric. So that's my motto, and I own fabricatedframesCom, so from here on out, watch the tutorial, have fun, and I hope you have a great time making your own. This is great for crafters, great for designers, and it's very functional. All you have to do, throw it in the wash. You could put it in a lingerie bag, stick it in the wash, keep it, use the cold, delicate cycle, and put it, and use mild detergent, no fabric softener, and then when you want to dry it, you could stick it on a towel to dry, air dry, or you really wanted to put it in the dryer, you could but it does have some glue in this. So if you do it on the lowest heat setting and do it for about 15 minutes. I wouldn't go, you can continue to do it on air dry a lot, but I would just do it like that, the first way. And here you go. This is a crown for anybody to wear. What type of fabric, jewelry that you know of that can be washable with removable parts. So I think that's kind of neat myself. And you could put lots of different designs on these. However big you want it, probably wouldn't make it any bigger than that. You can make it as small as 1 inch by 1 inch if you want. And then just use a military clutch and have one hole. So, here we go. Let's do this tutorial. Thanks. Hi, this is Kristie Hubler with fabricatedframesCom. Again, here we are with Zazzle fabric, the fabric that's available to buy and design and create all kinds of sewing craft projects, home accessories, jewelry in this case. And what I'm showing you is the new fabric at Zazzle.com. This is a 9 by 9 inch swatch. It's $5. The amount of sewing crafts and things you could do with a $5 swatch is amazing. I've managed to get about at least three, if not even more, brooch panels. 3 complete brooch panels. But you can get even more than that on a $5 swatch. This is polyester poplin. It's like that knitting, the thing they use needlework. That they use for needlework, needlepoint. As you can see, this swatch is serged. All the edges are serged. And in this case, we are showing my Queen of Hearts crown tiara, gold crown tiara, washable fabric, fashion brooch pin, sewing craft, the sewing pattern. In this case, this swatch comes with everything you need. It comes with all 4 panels, the 2 that make the finished front panel and the 2 that make the finished back panel. It even comes with seam allowances, measured specifically, laid out, specific sized. This whole thing is 5 inches across by 4 inches high. These 2 gold dots you see, that is where you are going to either, there we go, use needle nose scissors, these pointy embroidery scissors. These are Ginger. And you can poke in and then cut out to around the edge, and do that. After, of course, you iron on the Thermoweb Ultra Hold. It's a heat and bond. It's a fabric adhesive that is paper-backed, glue on one side. It gets ironed to the back of the swatch. In this case, it gets ironed to the back of the fabric. So you see that? I see that here. It's glue on this side. Now this specific one, Ultra Hold, is acid free, so it's great for photo frames. However, you can use their Feather Light or their Heat and Bond Light if you want. They come in all the stores. They come in AC Moore and Joann's and Michael's, etc. Joann sells it by the 1/8 yard, which really is 1/8 of a yard or 1/4 of a yard is all you really need for this specific project. And that's $1.99 a yard. Well, you're only using no more than 1/4 of a yard, so you can get this for as little, with a coupon or a sale, you can get this Thermoweb, 1/4 yard of it, for as little as 25 cents. It's really amazing. And you cut it to size, you cut it all different kind of patterns with it. Well, anyway, you're going to back just from here to here. So when you see here, I have straight pins in the corner. And basically, you flip it over, and you would iron, not this size, but you'd iron a 5 by 4 piece of Thermoweb, fusible web, heat and bond, ultra hold, or heat and bond light to the back of it. cut around the edges and peel away the paper backing, and then you can go to town. Okay, so let's talk about what you can do on this. This is polyester poplin, by the way. That's what they use for the needle points and such. So you have text. I recommend, if you're a designer, to use a higher than 18 font of any kind, as long as it's readable. As you can see, this one tells you everything you need. It tells you to buy a pack of the brooch pins. You see, in this specific one, these are removable, and that's why you have these 2 dots. These 2 dots here, you're going to cut them out once you have the Thermoweb on the back, of course. The Thermoweb's going to seal these holes when you cut them out, so they bond together when you iron these 2 pieces together. Okay, after, of course, you cut away the corners and fold down the seam allowances. And as you see, it makes holes, and the holes allow for the pin back to be removable. So, this is my crown. How I came about this crown, my neighbor about 13 and a half years ago, 2001, believe it or not, it was about 2001. He is the Miss New Jersey pageant director, so he and his wife, they wanted me to have a crown that was for them. So then, a few months later, somebody I knew allowed me to have a home demonstration party at their home. And the neighbor came over, and I had just so happened to bring one of the ones that I was working on for my neighbor with the Miss New Jersey crown on it. But, of course, I couldn't sell it because it's property of Miss New Jersey. So the person saw it, and they said, "Oh, I love it." I said, "Well, I have to make you a brand new crown." "Oh, it'd be great. It's for my dog, Queenie, a fabric photo frame." So I designed a whole brand new crown, this one right here. It was designed in October of 2001, which is why I have on here, that it's copyright protected down here. That's why. Because, long story short, several years later, somebody lifted it off of my site, and it was used for a contest. This person won, and it was used for packaging design of a very famous toiletries company. So, yeah, I figured if it's good enough to be on a famous packaging for fragrance, I said I think it's good to do on other things. Then come to find out, the entity said that they trademarked it, and then I come to see that it was not trademarked. So it's mine. It is my crown. I designed it in 2001. So, as you can see, it has these beautiful little gemstone, I call them diamonds, heart-shaped diamonds, and other little gems, and it's gold, and I have a little pink and light blue in there to give a shimmer, what a diamond would be, and then pearls as well. It has pearls connecting in different spots, so it's really girly, and it's really, for those princesses and queens of this world, like all of us, to wear. And as you can see, it says it's washable as well. And, it has everything you need. How much it's going to measure. How much, the holes. Talks about the holes. Talks about, let's see, how to clean it. Really easy. Lingerie bag. Put it in there. Cold, delicate wash. Perfect. And it does have the Thermoweb, which is a glue. This glue, this paperback glue adhesive here. So, I would probably lay it on a towel to dry. You can put it in the dryer. I accidentally did one time. It didn't turn out, it was okay. It didn't really get screwed up. But just in case, use discretion. Again, with this specific one, you want to use whatever color is the background of the image. In this case, it's white, so really easy. White thread and bobbin. And, you have fabric scissors, embroidery scissors. Really, just with this one, you really only need these. It is so simple. Pack of pin backs, these removable bar style pin backs, stainless steel, great. Thread. If you need pins, use the pins. If you really want to, play with it, you can use a quality hole puncher. I would use a quality one, not just the dollar store cheapy hole punchers. It is a little tough with thicker fabrics, so, but this one does work for a few brooches. Let's see. And if you really want to finish the end, sometimes when you're folding these under, even though it has Thermoweb under it, when you're trying to fold over and make these little points nice and crisp and so they don't fray, you can use your, and forgive my glue gun, I've had it for many years. Use a glue gun and a low temp glue gun with some glue sticks. You're probably just going to need one glue stick. And what you do is you dab with the nozzle at the corners with your finger and just pull it back and away, and you just play with it with the nozzle on your fingers, blowing on it, and that'll clean up your frays in case they do fray, which they shouldn't as much when you're using the Thermoweb, but that's just a little added tip. And these, if you want to doubly make sure they don't fray, you can take, and this is of course before you attach it to these two, take a piece of saran wrap and lay it out, and then take a cheap paintbrush and Elmer's glue and water, mix that up, and just dab around the edges of the cut circles, the cut holes. Let it dry, attach them to this, you're done. And then you know it's not going to fray, and it washes awesomely. And more instructions, tell you the instructions on here. And again, it's by me, Kristie Hubler. And let's go on to, let's see holes. I see little clear holes that came out of the hole puncher. Anyway, so let's get on to making this brooch. Thank you very much. Okay, I cut the 5x4 inch Thermoweb, as you can see, and here's the glue side, here's the paper side, and what it is that it fits within the, oh hello, it fits within your pattern on the back side. You would iron it, you get it within the, you had trouble if it was too thick, you could always put pins through to mark your spot, and then you just iron it, you iron outwards, like we're going to do, and go from there. So, and then having the Thermoweb on the seam allowances, which are the back at this side border here for all 4 panels, it helps to stick to the main base, because if you have Thermoweb on here and then the Thermoweb on here, when you use your finger to fold down these seam allowance flaps, after of course you snipped away at the corners to snip the excess away, they stick to each other when you're folding along that inner edge right there, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. The Thermoweb, as you can see, Thermoweb, this is ultra hold, and it is acid free, and it comes in a 5-yard roll. Now, the roll, which will give you a lot of crafts, photo frames, ornaments, brooches, lots and lots of brooches. You can have a brooch making party. And this specific one, it's $8.99 at Michael's. If you use their 50% off store coupon, you can get it for as low as $4.49 plus tax. It is so well worth it to buy, and so inexpensive. So let me get to ironing the fusible web on the back of this, and let's start making this pin. Yeah, you like that crown right there? Yeah, that's mine. And it's interesting though, because when they did take it, I thought, you know, I guess I'm good enough now for art licensing. So this kind of works for me that I'm using it now on this, and I'm really thankful, and thankful for, you know, to Zazzle as well. Thank you for allowing me to do this blog and this video. Thank you. Okay. So what I did was I took the iron and I took the piece and I worked from the center and I worked the way out. You need the pins from the back side to poke out. You could do that, but if you look at this, you could see that the lines show through with this specific fabric. Same thing with the cotton. You're lucky in that regard, because it's thick and durable, but yet at the same time the ink goes through and it's washable, and it's very, very good quality fabric that they're using. So, okay, so you see the paper here, and it's it's amazing. So you're gonna cut it out from the front. This is easy. You just do it like 1 second over the whole thing. Iron it. No, make sure there's no stain. Any kind of water. Do a dry iron. Just make sure that it's turned off. And then, so yeah, so you flip it over your you can either. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna peel the paper backing off and then cut it from the front. And there's a reason why. If you don't have a mini iron like I do, and you just have this lovely iron right here, when you go and snip at your, you're going to snip at your corners here, you're going to snip away at the corners. I'm going to redo this to make sure that I have this snipping, the angled lines to cut away the corners. And you're going to basically take the paper when you're folding under these, and you want to iron them down to basically secure them, the seam allowance flaps, to the back side of the panels underneath. They're going to be flipped under. When you do that with the iron, keep this big paper backing, because you could use it to protect your iron surface from getting any kind of glue on the front. That's just a tip I'm going to use. So let's go cut it out. Let's do that. Alrighty. Okay, so what we're going to do, we ironed on the fusible web to the back. We're going to cut this out and just basically cut out the pin itself. That way you preserve the rest of this fabric with all the instructions and whatnot. You can put a whole 9x9 piece of Thermoweb on the back of the whole entire 9x9 inch swatch. But this time, I just kept it conservative, I guess. I used a little less, so that way, it's really up to you what you want to do. I mean, if you're going to go for a 1/4 of a yard, which is 9 inches by about 17 inches, for Thermoweb, that's how they sell it, by the 1/8 and 1/4 yard and so on in increments at Joann's versus the roll that I showed you. You might as well just use some of it and finish the rest, just do the whole. But if you're buying it by the roll, you could just get away with just using a 5x4. Anyway, so we're going to cut, and so I folded it in half, and the Thermoweb is on the inside, as you can see. So I'm going to cut, I fold it in half along the center, and I'm going to snip. And that way you can get your scissors in there. And, there we go. So you get in there, and, you can cut. You could do this just with the tiny scissors. The Ginger scissors that I have here. I'm going to show you this. Okay, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to cut within that area. And I talk about this, I show it, I write about it on the swatch itself, to cut within these lines and try to basically cut within the line, because you can see right there. Hold on a second. You can see right here. I'm cutting away from the gold line just enough to give you a seam allowance, but so that way this gold line doesn't show on the base, right here on the fabric here. You don't want it to show through, because it is white. It's thick, but still. So try to cut within the thicker gold line you see. Try to cut away from it so that it won't show on the back side when you fold them under. Okay, so let me finish cutting this out. Okay, so here I cut out the panels, the 4 panels, the 2 for the front and 2 for the back. As you can see, I cut away the corners of the 4. Basically, I took it out of the center. And I folded it, cut in with my lovely scissors over here. Again, if you could just use one, why not just use one pair? Just stick with these embroidery pointy scissors. I got them from Michael's, by the way. almost 15 years ago for about $5.40. There were $9, and I got it on sale, so it's great. So I cut away the corners, I cut it out, and as you can see, it's shiny, the glue's on the back. You see I have a piece of paper right here, we're going to use that later. Shiny side facing down, of course. See the shiny part of the fusible web on the back of the 4 panels. Ooh. So then, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the 4 panels where I separate them, and I'm going to try to cut away from this thick gold line as much as I can so that it doesn't show on the back side when I fold the flaps, the seam allowances under. Okie-doke. And then we'll cut out the holes for the 2 panels that make the back panel. Okay, but don't forget, cut away your corners at 45-degree angles. What you can do is eyeball it, turn it like this, kind of make it so that it looks like the point's facing evenly up, and just cut across. Okay, let's get to separating these and cutting the holes out. Okay, I used the pointy embroidery scissors, and I cut away all the gold strips and all the corner that you see over here. And this is what we have. You see up close the 4 panels, and I'm ready to poke out and cut out those 2 gold circles for the holes for the mechanisms of the pins, mechanisms on the bar style pin back. Okay, so you want to poke the hole out. So this is what you do. You poke it in. You can either poke it in this way or poke it in one. Make sure that it goes between your fingers on the back side. If you could see through my fingers on the back, put it between your fingers. Gently poke through. Gently poke through. And then you just basically go and you just I'm trying to do this so you can see it. Gently poke around the circle edge, and you do that, as you can see. I'm doing this, trying to do this while on the, try to do this on the camera. I'm trying to show you. And you're going to do this for the 2 holes on each of those back panels. And you can use a little bit of the casting of the color of the gold or whatever the color of the hole is. You're okay. The main thing is you want to make sure that they're even. And so you do that. See how easy that was? You do this while watching TV, listening to music, watching Disney for all, whatever you want to do. And you do that for the other hole, and then you'll do that for this panel as well. Okay, so I cut the holes out of both panels, and I'm just checking to make sure that the mechanisms go nicely through the holes before I iron down the seam allowance side flaps. As you can see, it does for that. And let's take this off. Also, you want to make sure, let's do this, because this is a little bit tricky doing this with one hand, but as you can see, here we go. Come on, fingers, help me out. Aha, see? Okay, so, oopsie, pull this through. Okay, so we got this. If it's a little tight, you could always peel a little bit away. So, wait a second. See? There we go. There you go. So now we're going to fold down and iron those seam allowances for all 4 panels. Okay, so you can see here I folded the flaps down, the seam allowances. And we may need to go and get some glue at these corners. You could do that before you assemble all the panels together. You could do to all the 4 corners in case they're fraying. A little bit of dab of hot glue, pull it back to the back with your finger in the nozzle, and do that before you join all your panels together. So let's fold I'll show you what I do. This may be a little tough, but I'm going to try to do it. Okay, so you fold it down from the back side. I start from the center and I work my way out. I'm trying to do this so that I could do this in front of you here. You see that flap? Okay, what you do is you take your finger and you burnish it. you burnish it, use your fingernail, and you burnish across on the one side, and then you can flip it off, and you can flip it over and do it on the other side, and do that for all 4 seam allowance flaps. And I'm trying to keep the gold on this side than on this side, so try to do that. And then again, use your fingernail, whatever you have for a fingernail, and burnish both sides down along the gold line. If it were art, you would burnish it wherever the art stops and the seam allowance starts, in case you don't have a defined line. I'm going to do that for the rest of the 4 panels. Okay, I'm about ready to iron down these seam allowances. So I have it with the paper. You can see it. It's shiny. It's shiny side up. Okay, here it goes. Shiny side up. I have it where the seam allowances are on the bottom and the main part is on the top. That way, any glue that seeps out, it's on this shiny side of this paper. It's kind of like thinner freezer paper, I guess is the way you could describe it. It has I think it's called a polypropylene coating on this paper, and that's what keeps the glue from sticking to anything, but yet hold on to the paper when you're ironing it to the surfaces. And nice combination of substrates, I guess you want to call it. I think they call it in the industry. So alrighty, so I put my finger, see it, okay, between my 2, and watch your fingers. Also make sure that this is underneath here, kind of tuck that as you go, and don't keep it on too long, because you don't want to get any kind of burnt marks on your front. So there you go. I'm going to do that for all 4 sides, and do that to all 4 panels. Another thing that I have as a tip, if you see these are fraying a smidge, what you could do is you just kind of dab it against the heat of the iron here, just a smidge, and what you can do is kind of like nurse it back a bit. It kind of nurses the piece back, so you do that for this one. Smidge, just a few seconds, and just kind of pull it back a little. That helps. Then you could use less glue to hold them down with your glue gun. I find that helps a little bit too. So let me finish. Oh, you know what? One more. I got one more edge to do. So let's do this here. Pinch down the edge a bit. Use your fingers to kind of pinch it inward a bit. You know, let's see. And then do this. Go from the center out. Sometimes you can go like this. That's okay too. As you can see, all 4 sides are ironed down. And let's see, all I have to do is just do a little bit of nudging. Let's see, I'm gonna do a little bit of nudging here. And oops. Let me do this. Oh yeah, that's great. Do this one in the little corner here. Again, sometimes just putting it, against the heat of the iron really kind of helps push it in place. So you can see, sometimes even if you see a little bit of white, or something, it just pushing it against it kind of also helps nudge it in place, I found. Just a little. So that way we don't have to use as much glue. We could just use what comes out of the nozzle of the glue gun. So you can see here I have, let's do this, I have the two front panels. Just want to finish up the corners on them with a little bit of glue. 2 backs, which I'm going to nudge a few of these little corners in place. And another thing you could do, you could take these pieces, you see the backs here, see what's ever the most even. I'm saying this to this, looks about right. And align your holes up as evenly. You can eyeball it as much as possible. You see that, and that's the back side, that's the back side. And what you can do is you align your holes up. Let me see here. Okay, make sure all your edges are evenly aligned, outside, holes inside, and you could just take the iron and press it from the center outward. And then what you could do is, again, you could use Elmer's glue and water with a cheap paintbrush and go around the outer edges, lay it on a piece of saran wrap. And then before you join everything together, you take your two panels. You could either hot glue these edges together after you've ironed these two panels together. This to this, this to this, this to this. Or you could sew them. And that's really your choice. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can, once you've ironed the two back panels together, put some glue around the edges gently, and then gently press them together. Same thing with the two for the front, the back side of the front and the design image. Iron them together and then put glue around the edge and then press it gently. Don't go too crazy with the glue. Or you could sew around all four sides, and then join this to this on 3 sides. Make sure you leave an opening. We'll do that next. Okay, so you have a choice. The two are joined, and you could either put glue around the edge and press them shut around all 4 edges. Same thing with this one. And then just put glue around 3 sides, not the top, and then join the 2 finished panels together. That's your no-sew way of making these brooches. The other way is to sew them together. Sew the 2 backs together on all 4 sides. Sew the 2 fronts together on all 4 sides. Then very gently and evenly align them. You can use pins just in case. And sew 3 sides. Follow your stitch line that you previously made. Leave the opening, and then you're done. So I'm gonna sew them just to let you know, and then we'll insert the pin backs.